Hey, what's up, everybody? If you appreciate the format and you appreciate what we're doing here, then make sure you contribute to the Cash App, make sure you contribute to the PayPal, make sure you donate to the Super Chat. It's only you and your contributions that keep this thing going. Thanks. Hey, what's up, everybody? If you appreciate the format and you appreciate what we're doing here, then make sure you contribute to the Cash App, make sure you contribute to the PayPal, make sure you donate to the Super Chat. It's only you and your contributions that keep this thing going. Thanks. What's up, you guys? This is Dennis Sperling, and I'm back again. And we have been having a conversation over the past couple of weeks about Black men of Africa, the slave trade, different kings. And I think it's important that we understand the history of our people beyond the shores of the United States. And this is why I have made it a point to begin to talk to you guys about these different gentlemen, these different kings, these different royals. And so tonight we're going to talk about King Antonio I of the Congo. Now, it's important to understand him. You're going to know who he is. So we're going to talk about him first. Think of him as the hero king, okay? But then I also want you to think of his predecessor, Afonso I of Congo, right? Now, Afonso I of Congo reigned from 1509 to 1542. King Antonio I, he reigned from, let me make sure I got these dates down for you. He reigned from, hold on 1 minute. He died he ruled from 1661 to 1665. And his name was King Antonio, okay? King Antonio, keep that name in mind. I need you guys to keep these names in mind, all right? And so the thing was, under King Alfonso, right, who ruled from 15 to 1542, the Portuguese were allowed into the Congo, and they basically established the slave trade. So I'm going to read some of this stuff to you guys. Mind you, we're going to go from King Antonio I to King Alfonso I. King Alfonso ruled from 1509 to 1542. King Antonio basically was the cleanup man who ruled from 1661 to his death at the Battle of Mbwila on October 29th, 1665. So here's what's going on. I'm going to bring some stuff up, and you guys make sure you get the likes up. If you appreciate this kind of conversation, then, you know, show your appreciation by contributing to the Super Chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal. Here's another thing. You guys probably need to go ahead and start joining the membership, because at a certain point moving forward, we're just going to have membership only comments. All right. So in order to even comment, you're going to have to be a member. But here's the thing. Let's run over Alfonso I, King Alfonso I of the Congo. Now he was not born King Alfonso. He was the sixth ruler of the king. He was sixth ruler of the Kingdom of the Congo. Just so you guys know, its location is right here. Okay, so this is on the west coast of Africa. Up above that is Nigeria. Why can't they just put Africa? I mean, it'd be great if they would just put Africa just give us one map, you know what I mean? But in order to get an African map, you literally gotta pull it all up. So I want to show you what it looks like, okay? And its exact location, because this is important. And the reason that it's important is because it kind of shows you it's on the same side over there. This is the Democratic Republic of Congo right here, okay? All right, this is the Democratic Republic of Congo right here. So the Kingdom of Congo is going to be right up in here. We'll use this as a mark. All right, and so you guys can see, and if you guys are with me, bam, right up in there. Let's see our African map. Let's see if we can make that a little bigger. Oh man, look at that. Isn't that terrible? So it's gonna be right up in here somewhere. Let me hell, I need a better map than that. Let me see. Oh man. But either way, you guys get it. This is Congo right here, right? Democratic Republic of Congo. All right. This is the Kingdom of Congo here. All right. So basically, this was all prime location for slaves. They would take the captured Africans from here and run them right across the ocean to Brazil. And they would also run them up to North America. So we've talked about Morocco, we've talked about Mali, we've talked about Algeria. We basically went over the Sahara. Remember when King Mansa Musa went from here all the way to Egypt. We spoke a little bit about Togo, Benin. There's Nigeria, Cameroon, Gabon, Congo, right here. And Angola is right up in there. All right. So this is the slave coast, the Gold Coast, right in here. So here's the thing. I want you guys to listen up. So King Alfonso, right? This gentleman, okay, he ruled from 1509 to 1542. I call him the king who made the deal with the devil. He was basically enamored by European culture. He was born in Mbwila and Nzinga, and he was the son of the king. He was the fifth. The father was the fifth king. At the time of the first arrival of the Portuguese to the kingdom, Congo's capital was Mbanza, which is and that was in 1491. Now keep in mind, 1492 is when Christopher Columbus discovered what? He discovered the New World, right? So it's 1491 when the Portuguese first start coming to the Congo. Now, of course, they were down there proselytizing people, and he was baptized, and he changed his name from Mbwila to Afonso. He was baptized, and his father decided to convert to Christianity, and the son studied Portuguese, and the priest and the advisors for 10 years in the kingdom's capital. Now, how did he rise to power? Well, basically, his dad died in about 1506, the king, and his mother basically didn't announce that his father had died until he had gotten all his survivors into the city. Okay, so the main competition that he had was his half brother Panzu Kitma, and it's allegedly he ended up killing his half brother in the fight to maintain the reign. All right, so what did he do during his reign? He was real cool with the Portuguese. He let them in. He actually would send his children and the children of the other folks that were, send them up there to Europe to study. So now what has to happen is in 1514, right? Problems starting to rise in between him and the Portuguese. In this letter, Alfonso openly stated that he would like to have full control of the Congo Portuguese slave trade. The Portuguese did not approve of this measure. But see, now slavery is kicking up. And he's well aware that there are slaves being taken from his land. Okay. And he wants to have control of it because it's already becoming a problem, and it's only 1514. All right. So hell with what they talking about. All they took was prisoners of war and slaves. They were taking everybody, even as early as 1514. It's right here. In this letter, Alfonso openly stated he would like to have full control of the Congo Portuguese slave trade. The Portuguese did not approve of this measure, and the situation progressively got worse. The slave trade continued unabated until it was resolved in 1526. Afonso I in 1526 created a commission to investigate the origin of individuals who had been sold into slavery. This helped put an end to the illegal slave trade occurring at the Congo. Okay, but see, here's the problem. What that's letting you know is they weren't just grabbing black folks who were from the villages. They were taking the royalties, children. They were taking all these folks. Alfonso was outspokenly opposed to slavery initially fought with the Portuguese and demanded for human beings. He eventually relented in order to sustain the economy of the Congo. What's going on now is, man, okay, they are benefiting these countries, the Congo, the DRC. They're benefiting from from selling black people to these Portuguese slave traders who are taking them over to Brazil. All right. Now, here's the thing you got to understand. Initially, Afonso sent war captives and criminals to be sold as slaves to the Portuguese. Eventually, Portuguese demand for slaves exceeded the country's potential supply, prompting them to search for slaves in neighboring regions. Now, we're only in 1514, family. Columbus discovered the New World in 1492. Okay. We are at this point, right? We are only 22 years into them discovering the New World, and they taking so many slaves out of the DRC, they running out of people. Okay. Now, Afonso let the situation continue for as long as he did in an attempt to not overtly, to be overtly rude to the Portuguese. Remember, these were his friends. They had ties. He was cool with the Vatican. They would send their children up to Europe to be educated. You see what I'm saying? This is what the rich folks do. He attempted to try to convert the Congo, the DRC, to Christianity or to Catholicism. You know, Afonso also sought to develop appropriate theology to merge the religious traditions of his own country with that of Christianity. This is, look at the map. All right, look at the map, family. This is the DNC right here, right? This is the Congo right here. This is all in the Congo right there. He's trying to convert his people to Christianity. These are basically people who had their own spiritual beliefs. He was trying to convert them. They wouldn't, you know, and so what he had to do is try to figure out a merger between traditional African beliefs and Christianity. And so that's what he was kind of left with. He said, so he studied theological textbooks and he tried to find a way to mesh them. You see what I'm saying? This is what he was trying to do. Let me see. And he studied theological studies, falling asleep over them. I mean, he spent time on this, man. He didn't want to break up this friendship. To aid in his task, Afonso sent many of his children and nobles to Europe to study, including his son, Henrik King Mvimba, who was elevated to the status of bishop in 1518. So you had a bishop of the Catholic Church who was black from the same people that they were stealing, you know, from the Congo. So they knew who we were. They knew our intelligence. They knew we weren't derived from monkeys and stuff like that. When you read that stuff, it's all a lie because our history is well documented. So you guys got to understand that. Shout out to XL Pro Services, Apex Prowler. Thank you so much. You guys contribute to the Super Chat, the Cash App. We learning history here. This is important. I know this is not something you guys knew, not something I learned. And I'm laying it out here for you, and I'm putting it in context. So make sure you contribute to the Super Chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal. Show your appreciation for what I'm doing here. Afonso's efforts to introduce Portuguese culture to the Congo was reflected in several ways. The Congolese aristocracy adopted Portuguese names, titles, coats of arms, styles of dress. Youths were sent from elite families to Europe for education. So in other words, the young blacks were sent to Europe in droves to study. So you got these young black people, young Africans being sent to Europe to study. These are educated people that are coming back. Okay? This is aristocracy. This is the elite. All right? Christian festivals observed churches erected, and craftsmen made Christian artifacts that were found in missionaries in the 19th century. Okay? Significantly, so what else we got here? And here's another thing. Many of the Africans who were sent to the United States, they were from the Congo, you know, even in the United States. And they celebrate and lived in slave communities in Albany. So they still celebrate these things. Now, here's the thing. They're saying, well, what was his reason? Why did he love them that bad? Because people are trying to figure out, why is this dude so? The precise motivation behind Alfonso's campaign of conversion is unclear. Scholars continue to dispute the authenticity of the Congolese Christian faith and the degree to which adoption of the new faith was motivated by political, economic realities. Although the degree to which Afonso was purely spiritually motivated is uncertain, it is clear that the Congo's conversion resulted in the far-reaching European engagement with both political and religious leaders who supported and legitimized Christian kingdom throughout the rest of its history. So what does that say? They don't know. Is he trying to convert to Christianity because he's trying to get in good with these white folks, or what? Now, mind you, we just came out of the time period where the Arabs had come down, and the Moors and the Moors were proselytizing Africans and making them into Muslim. Remember, Mansa Musa didn't die to 1340, right? And it's only 15, and it's only 1500 something. You see what I mean? So you got less than 100 some years. Some folks is still, your granddaddy was a Muslim, and now you're being forced into Catholicism. This is what's going on the West Coast. Everybody's looking to try to figure out who can control, you know, and who can control these valuable portion of real estate here on Earth. And they're coming in with their religion first. Now, here's the thing: the slave trade was increasingly getting worse, and so this is the quagmire that King Alfonso was in. Let's read what was going on. The Portuguese became an increasing problem within the kingdom. Many of the architects and doctors and pharmacists turned to commerce rather than practicing their professions. The Portuguese became an increasing problem within the kingdom. Many of these white Portuguese architects, doctors, and pharmacists turned to commerce rather than practicing their professions. They ignored the laws of the Congo. And in 1510, Alfonso had to ask Portugal for a special representative, had to ask Portugal, the country, for a special representative with authority to control his countrymen. The Portuguese were able to benefit from their position more than the Congo. Okay, Lisbon, which is the city back in Portugal, the capital city in Portugal, was unable to control its sellers in the Congo or Sao Tome. In the end, there was a mass involvement of Portuguese and Congolese affairs and the breakdown of the authority of Congo. What is this saying? What they're saying is their professional class, doctors, lawyers, pharmacists, said, why am I doing this when I can sell these slaves and make all this money? And all of this was happening with the knowledge of the King Alfonso I of the Congo. All right. And it's getting so out of control. He said, look, y'all need to send somebody down here to control these Portuguese. Okay. Why? What was the problem? In 1526, Afonso wrote a series of letters condemning the violent behavior of the Portuguese in his country and the establishment of the transatlantic slave trade. 1492 to 1526, it's already a problem. From 1492, when Columbus got to the Caribbean and then came back, went back 4 times, it's only been 34 years, and the transatlantic slave trade is already a problem. He's writing a letter condemning the violent behavior of the Portuguese, the rapes, the murders, the killings. This is what these Europeans are doing right there. And why does this king allow it to continue to happen? Because they're getting rich off of it. Right there in the Congo, many of you listening to me, many of you that will see this, this is where your ancestors were taken from. Right here, the Gold Coast slash the Slave Coast. This is the politics that was going on right there. This is the religion and the politics that created the circumstances that allowed you to be taken from this, from your native land, our native land, and brought here. So at the point, he accused them of assisting brigands in his own country and illegally purchasing free people as slaves. So remember, earlier we said it was initially they were only supposed to be capturing criminals, sending criminals and people who were captives of war. But at this point, as early as 1526, less than 34 years later, they had run out of slaves legitimately captured through war and imprisonment. And at this point, they were basically purchasing free people as slaves. He also threatened to close the trade. They were taking their own people. You know, they were taking, let's read further. He also threatened to close the trade altogether. However, in the end, Afonso established an examination committee to determine the legality of enslaved persons presented for sale. So basically, he had to come with a compromise. Look, we can't stop the slave trade, but they have to obey my laws. So what did he do? He came up with a commission. So people had to explain where you got these people from. We don't know how well that worked, but it slowed things down a little bit. Afonso was a determined soldier and extended Congo's effective control to the south. His letter dated 5 October 1514 reveals the connection between Afonso's men, the Portuguese mercenaries in Congo's service, and the capture and sale of slaves by his forces, many of which he retained in his own service. So he himself, had slaves. All right. In 1526, Afonso wrote 2 letters concerning the slave trade to the King of Portugal, decrying the rapid destabilization of his kingdom as the Portuguese slave traders intensified their efforts. We are talking about 34 years, right? After Columbus landed in the New World, they are already running out of people in the Congo. This is how horrible this was. If you hear what I'm saying, hit the like button. All right. If this is something you want to continue having, hit the like button. What I want you to also understand is that this leader, right? This leader, King Alfonso I, he was a learned man. He was an educated man. He was writing letters to the king in Portugal. He was writing letters to the Vatican. They knew very well what was going on. This wasn't some chief sitting on some elephant tusk throne out in the middle of a bivouac somewhere. These were educated men. This gentleman educated 10 years himself in European thought, philosophy, writing, and religion. All right, but here's the letter he wrote. All right, in one of his letters, he writes, Each day, the traders are kidnapping our people, children of this country, sons of our nobles and vassals, even people of our own family. So when you hear people talking about, oh no, they was just kidnapping uh, prisoners of war and criminals, that's a lie. As early as 26 years or 28 years into the slave trade, they were already taking the sons of nobles and vassals. Notice they said sons of nobles. They didn't say daughters, because they were getting black boys and black men. They were not interested in black women. They need to get them over there, work them, and replace them. So you could be a king in this country. You could be educated. You could be a noble, and then you get kidnapped, thrown on a slave ship, right? And drugged across the ocean and taken across the ocean to work in some strange land. This is 28 years in. Okay, this is basically 1492 to 1526. This is no time. I'm sorry, not 28 years. 34 years in. They already got this corruption and depravity. This corruption and depravity are so widespread that our land is entirely depopulated. I want you to take a look at this. Okay, let's look at the map of the Congo. This is what the Congo looked like at that time. This king is telling you that, and this is on the African map, this is Angola. He's telling you that y'all have taken so many slaves that our land is depopulated. This is a written record that this king is sending to another king, telling you our land is so depopulated that you know, we running out of people. We need it. You know, where's our people? The corruption and depravity are so widespread that our land is entirely depopulated. We need in this kingdom, and here's what he's telling the Portuguese king. We need in this kingdom, we need priests and school teachers and no merchandise. We don't want no more y'all stuff unless it's wine and flour for mass. That's it. We don't want nothing else. He's saying this as early as 1526. This is what this king is telling these Portuguese folks. It's right here, man. You know, the history is right here, fellas. If you want to lay it out and look at it, it's right here. You know, I'm not a hotep type dude. I'm not trying to throw a religion on you. I'm not trying to throw some traditional African spiritual beliefs on you, but I want you to understand the mistakes that your leaders made. King Alfonso the first made a deal with the devil. And then the devil came to collect and took all his people. His land was entirely depopulated. They were taking the sons of nobles and vassals, some of his own people. We need to, and so he said, look, we don't want any of that stuff. But no, you already made that deal. Let me hear you. I want you to hear what the king of Portugal had to say and respond. We'll finish reading this. We need in this kingdom, I read that part. It is our wish that the kingdom not be a place for trade or transport of slaves. He's trying to turn the faucet off. No, y'all got to stop that. Many of our subjects eagerly lust for Portuguese merchandise that your subjects have brought to our domains. In other words, you got them hooked on these European knickknacks that y'all brought down here, and they lust for it. You know, it's like crack. To satisfy this inordinate appetite, they seize many of our free black subjects. They sell them. You see what I'm saying? Having taken them to the coast secretly at night. These were black people capturing their own brothers and sisters, capturing their own brothers, nobles, free people that they know are free, secretly taking them over to the coast at night. Sometimes the king couldn't even say nothing about it. Yeah, he sanctioned it, but he thought it was going to be under control. It ain't no control. Our own brothers captured our own brothers. It was a money-making endeavor. And they knew. They seized many of our black free subjects. They sell them, having taken them for prisoners secretly at night. And why did they do it? They were addicted to the merchandise. You see what I'm saying? They like that shiny stuff those Europeans were bringing down. Just like y'all like them fancy cars. You know, you like them nice shoes and purses for your gas. And so you're willing to do anything and everything to get that money. You're making a deal with the devil, just like King Alfonso did. And you're willing to stab your brother's back. It's the same thing, man. It's the same thing. We don't read history on this page just to know it. We read it to understand it so we can move forward. As soon as the captives are in the hands of white men, they are branded with a red hot iron. See, he made this deal with the devil. He embraced the European way. He embraced he embraced the religion, Catholicism. He embraced the way they clothed their names. He did all that. He made a deal with the devil, and the devil came to collect. Afonso believed that the slave trade should be subject to Congo law. In other words, the slave trade, he didn't even have any control over. They were coming to take, imagine they coming in and taking your people from your land and you supposed to be the king. When he suspected the Portuguese of receiving illegally enslaved persons to sell, he wrote to King Jawa III in 1526, right? 34 years later, after Columbus sailed the ocean blue. And 1501 is when the first slaves were brought from Spain to Hispaniola. So technically, this is only 25 years later. But what did he do when he wrote to King in 1526, imploring him to put a stop to the practice? They're making too much money. You open the door. You let it happen. Afonso was also concerned about the depopulating of his kingdom through the exportation of his own citizens. The King of Portugal responded to Afonso's concern. Look at the king, white king sitting up there in Portugal in Lisbon. Here's what he said. The king's Portugal responded to Alfonso's concern, writing that because the Congo purchases their slaves from outside of the kingdom and converts them to Christianity and then intermarries them, the kingdom probably maintains a high population and must not even notice the missing subjects. You see how he just blew him off? You know, y'all marry them women from other places. Y'all convert. Y'all can always go to the little surrounding country and bring some more Negroes in. You know, all you Negroes look the same. Just marry some new women and have sex with them, convert them to Christianity, and y'all will be fine. I'm sure you got plenty of people. That was a hell no. We're not going to stop coming down there. To lessen Alfonso's concerns, the king suggested sending 2 men to a designated point, telling him how to run his city. Send 2 men to a designated point in the city to monitor who's being traded and who could object to any sale involving a subject of Afonso's kingdom. In other words, put a couple of guys out there, man. Mind you, they still in hundreds and thousands of people a day sometimes, right? Hundreds of people. They just run. So just put a couple of people at the gate, man, and you'll be all right, man. Don't worry about that. They're up there making money. They already got their slave trade going, man. The King of Portugal then wrote that if he were to cease the slave trade from the inside of Congo, he would still require provisions from Afonso, such as wheat and wine. In other words, yeah, we can stop the slave trade, but you're still gonna pay me. You're still gonna pay us. So that's what happened. That's how it all got kicked up, man. This is how it happened in the Congo, man. This is how this part, all of this was involved with, Portugal, remember, is up here somewhere. This is how it all got kicked up, man. And so now in walks this young brother. And his name is, let me see if I can pull him up for you guys to see. I have a picture of him. His name is António I Nvita. Now remember, he's part of the Congo elite. He's part of the Congo aristocracy. So he's going to have what? He's going to have one of these European names. Make sure you get the likes up. All right. So what did he do? The Kingdom of Kongo. Now, mind you, it is now 1661 when he takes over. So we went from 1545, right, all the way to 1661. 61. So it's been a little over 100 years. This thing is going bad, right? It's 100 some years. So his defeat and death at the Battle of Mbwila in October 29, 1665. He was elected following the death of King Garcia II. All these Africans with these European names, these are all Africans, right? But remember, the Congolese aristocracy have these European names. Make sure you get the likes up. Make sure you contribute to the super chat. Matter of fact, I'm gonna run some commercials. Y'all contribute to the super chat, man. Go ahead.
Hey, what's up, everybody? If you appreciate the format and you appreciate what we're doing here, then make sure you contribute to the Cash App. Make sure you contribute to the PayPal. Make sure you donate to the super chat. It's only you and your contributions that keep this thing going. Thanks. Thank you, everybody, for your contributions. I appreciate it. Let's keep it going. Donate to the super chat. Donate to the PayPal. Donate to the Cash App. It's your contributions and your donations that'll cause for this platform to grow. Let our voice be the voice, the preeminent voice in Black America.
You guys got to contribute to the super chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal. We got 44 people in here. We got, 2 super chat donations. Shout out to my man Apex. And shout out to my man, Sir Francis. You guys got to contribute, man. Don't be cheap, man. Go ahead and contribute. I'm going to run another commercial. Matter of fact, come on, fellas. Don't be like that.
Hi, my name is Dennis Berlin. I'm not a lawyer, but my daddy is.
Yeah, if you've been hurt in a car accident, call my daddy.
No need to scream and yell like a little kid.
Yeah, no yelling.
My daddy will fight for your rights.
Yeah, fight for your rights.
If you've been involved in a car accident, call my daddy, Attorney Dennis Berlin.
Hello, I'm Attorney Dennis Berlin. If you've been injured in a car wreck, call me at 713-229-0770.
Call my daddy.
All right, make sure you guys contribute to the super chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal. What we're going to do now is I'm going to run a video put together by a gentleman who has a page called the African Kingdom, which defeated the Portugal Kingdom of Kongo. Okay, I'm going to let this play for a minute. We'll chop it up. We'll talk about it. But it's sponsored by a brother who has a channel here. So we'll hear what he got to say about it.
Portugal had less influence in Africa than it should be, despite it being among the first nations which stepped in Africa from outside. Unfortunately, it went to fight a place where there were people who were more powerful to resist against Portugal. Let's talk today about the Kingdom of Kongo. The influence Portuguese could have in Africa should have been more bigger than how it is today, seeing that only 6 countries in Africa actually speak Portuguese. So how did the Kingdom of Kongo block Portugal? The Kingdom of Kongo was a very powerful kingdom around the actual place which can be considered as the northern side of Angola, the western side of Democratic Republic of Congo, the part of Republic of Congo. And
all right, so this is the area we saw earlier, right? You see that? This is Congo. I'm going to run this map back. Remember that? We're talking about this part right here. We're talking about the map of the Congo, which is right up in here. That's what this brother's talking about. So this is same area, all up in here, right? In Gabon, Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo, Angola. So let's continue.
And the southern west side of Gabon. They used to speak the language called Kikongo. According to history, this place was in contact with the European and the outside world even before the Portuguese coming, and they were trading many things as ivory, raffia cloth, ferrous metal goods, pottery, and many other natural resources, meaning trading between this Kingdom of Kongo with the outside world was there even before the Portuguese coming. So
fair use.
Diego Cao came first, and he was among the first people who explored or went deep into exploring the Kingdom of Kongo. And after exploring Congo, he went back to Portugal and presented to his government how he found the Kingdom of Kongo very rich and a good opportunity for them. Later on, he was sent back to Congo.
You heard what he said? Very rich. There's plenty of stuff down there we can go steal and trade for. These people are easy to solve. Get the likes up, contribute to the super chat, folks.
With religious priests and soldiers from Portugal. This
So he returned with religious priests and soldiers from Portugal.
This introduced the arrival of the Catholic Church in the Kingdom of Congo, and because of the good relationship which the Portugal had with leaders of the Kingdom of Congo at that time, the king was...
He's talking about King Alfonso, the good relationship that they had with the king. They made a deal with the devil. They liked the shiny things that they were bringing in, right?
Baptized into the Catholic Church, changed.
They baptized them into the Catholic Church. They changed their name from their traditional African names to these European names.
His name to Joao first, but later on he came back to his original religion. Anyway, this didn't stop the religion of Christianity or the Catholic Church to continue to grow in the Kingdom of Congo, because the successor of Joao first became also a Christian and made. So how did the Kingdom of Congo resist against
the successor of Joao? Was Afonso.
Portuguese invasion. Everything was smooth and collaboration was very well between the Kingdom of Congo and Portuguese, until a time when some of the agreements which they had about trading slaves started not going as it was supposed to be.
Okay, so this brother right here is clearly from the continent. I know my African brothers, y'all don't like talking about slavery because it impugns your character, but I'm gonna talk about it. Basically what was happening was they was taking slaves they were taking people who were nobility, people who were the children of the vassals. They were taking the upper class people and putting them on the boats. They wasn't just taking, they were taking free people of free Africans, free Congolese people. They were taking as citizens, and they said, no, this has got to stop. That's basically what happened. As long as they was taking criminals and kidnapping people and starting up wars with folks who was from neighboring tribes and neighboring countries, it wasn't so much a problem. But see, they ran out of people. They depopulated the country. They just start taking anybody and everybody they can get.
And Alfonso I, realizing that, wrote a letter to Vatican, and
this is a letter we read, right? He wrote a letter. Alfonso I realized that y'all violating these rules. He wrote a letter to the Vatican.
Portuguese king in 1529, but they refused to cooperate with him to stop this trade of slave in the Kingdom of Kongo. In 1622, there was a battle.
So he skipped forward to 1000 to the year 1622. All right, that's where you skip forward to. All right, let's listen to
called the Battle of Mbwila, which opposed the Portuguese to the people from Congo. They chased away the Portuguese people who were trying to invade the Kingdom of Congo. In 1623, the Battle of Mbanda and Kasi, which opposed the Portuguese who were occupying the part of Angola with people of the Kingdom of Congo.
They was trying to get these. They made a deal with the devil. Okay, Alfonso I and his father, they converted to, oh yeah, we're gonna trade, blah blah. They've been coming down here. They made a deal with the devil, and then for the next 100-some years, their people have to fight with these people to get them up out of their country.
1665, Portuguese fought again against the Kingdom of Congo, and they decapitated António I. In 1600,
this is Antonio I. This is the one. This is the hero. Right, this is who we're talking about today.
670, there was again a battle called the Battle of Kitombo. I'm giving this just to explain that there was so many battles which were against the people of the Kingdom of Congo with the Portuguese powers. And just imagine how the Portuguese power are portrayed to be.
Now, mind you, Portugal was one of the most powerful countries on the planet at that time. They had a huge military. Remember, Spain and Portugal, they were becoming rich from the slave trade. So they had everything. This is 118. This is 1665. This is almost 150, over 150 years after the slave trade started. So they were rich. They had it all.
So huge, but they were fighting against an African power, and the African power could resist against their occupations, even if after some time they were failing. So the Kingdom of Congo was reunited again in 1709, and so many other battles happened until in 1885, when Europeans divided Africa. The title of a king was abolished until it came back in 1915 to 1975, which was just a title but without power. And today, since these things have been revealed to us, we can clearly see that we had.
All right, that's one example. I want you guys to check out this next video. But if you appreciate this conversation, Make sure you contribute to the Super Chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal. You're learning your history. These are the politics surrounding how many of us got here. Okay, and we're learning a lot here.
Hello, welcome to BioGreat TV. If you're new here, please subscribe and turn on the notification so you don't miss our next video. History of the Kingdom of Kongo. The Kingdom of Kongo, founded in 1390 CE, is located in West Central Africa, precisely the present-day northern Angola, towards the western portion of the Democratic Republic of Congo, as well as the southernmost part of Gabon. The kingdom originated from Mbwila, a large Bantu kingdom to the south of the Mbatu kingdom, dating as far back as 1375 AD. Mbwila was located south of modern-day Matadi in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Nzima, ruler of Mbwila, made an alliance with Ngakulao, the ruler of the neighboring Mbata kingdom, that each of their allies would help ensure the succession of their allies' lineage in each other's territory. Nzima even bonded more with the kingdom by marrying Lukeni Luansanze, one of the Mbata people. Lukemi Luanimi, son of Nzima and Lukeni Luansanze, became the first king of the Kingdom of Kongo. After the reign of Lukemi Luanimi, who was also known as Limia Lukemi, his brother Mbokan Mavinga took over the throne and ruled until about 1467. Mbokan Mavinga had 2 wives and 9 children.
We're going to slide forward. We don't need the genesis of it. Okay, we're going to slide
centralized and the king highly powerful. Before Congo had its first contact with Europeans, it was already a highly developed state with an extensive trading network.
Before the Europeans even showed up, they were already highly developed.
The people manufactured and traded copper wire, ferrous metal goods, pottery, and raffia cloth. They did all their trading and communication in the Kikongo language. Portuguese explorer Diogo Sau in 1483 sailed up the uncharted Congo River, being the first European to encounter the Kingdom of Kongo. He left some of his men there and took some Congo nobles to Portugal, where they got trained in the Portuguese culture. He returned with the Congo nobles in 1485, and at the time, the ruling king, Nzinga Nku, had converted to Christianity through Roman Catholic intervention from Portugal. In 1491, Sao returned to the kingdom with
they came back with their religion. They came in with their God.
Roman Catholic priests and soldiers who baptized Nzinga Nku together with his principal nobles. Nzinga took the Christian name João I in honor of Portugal's king at the time, João II. It was also at this time that literate Congo citizens who returned from Portugal began to establish schools in Congo, introducing formal education to the kingdom.
So these people, these folks, they started in 1485, right? 1492 is when Columbus sailed across the ocean. 7 years before that, some Portuguese came down there and they took some of these royals up to Europe to become educated, right? And a little while later, the king came and he changed his name to João. They basically been anglicized. They Europeanized their names. And so this is what this guy is saying.
João I ruled until his death in about 1506.
And remember this, and then right after that, that's when King Alfonso's mother helped him take over. Remember that?
Then was succeeded by his son, Afonso Nzinga.
That's the King Alfonso
some challenges from his half-brother, Mpanzu Kitima. The strife between them grew so bad that they got engaged in a battle waged at Mbanza, Congo, where Afonso Nzinga prevailed. According to Afonso, the intervention of St. James and the Virgin Mary aided his success in the battle.
Yeah, Afonso said, yeah, God came, the Virgin Mary came and helped me kill my brother.
This inspired him to design a coat of arms for Congo, which was used until 1860. He also established Christianity as the state religion of the Kingdom of Kongo.
This Alfonso was all in. He was all in, man. I mean, like, yeah, man, the Europeans are coming up. He's that type of dude that's like, yeah, man, anytime he's the one that's from your hometown that's always talking about New York City, LA. Yeah, man, I went out to Cali. Yeah, man, I know all of it, man. This is what's up. This ain't nothing compared to you always bragging on somebody else's hometown. That's this dude right here. That's Alfonso the First. And you see what happened. It came back and bit him in the butt because he had made a deal with the devil and he didn't even realize within his lifetime he would see his land, his people stolen from their country, his own family members, his friends, his royals stolen. These same people that they gave you that education, and then they put you on a boat and ship you over to Europe somewhere. I'm sorry, ship you over to North America, South America, Central, work you to death like you had no education at all. He opened the door for it. He fully embraced that. They didn't need their religion, but that's what he accepted. Let's keep going.
Popularly called King Afonso I, the king sponsored the Roman Catholic Church in Congo from the income from royal assets and taxation. He also got Portuguese advisors and assistants who aided Congo's religious development.
He let the Portuguese all in. Yeah, man, y'all come in. Y'all can aid me. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, don't worry. Yeah, you can tell us how we need to. He made a deal with the devil. This is Alfonso I, right?
Although slavery had long existed in the kingdom before.
Listen, we always hear slavery long existed in the kingdom. Listen.
For the contact with the Portuguese, the Kingdom of Kongo, however, became a major source of slaves for Portuguese traders and other European powers.
So it wasn't just the Portuguese there. There was other European powers there too. But my whole point is many of our ancestors came from, these are the politics. This is the man who opened the door, right? Keep that in mind.
Afonso aided the slave trade.
Alfonso, this black king in Congo, who had been European now with this European name, who embraced Europe traditions and religion and all that, he did what? He aided them, right? Now, keep in mind, it had been going on for 20, 30 years. They knew what was happening to us over in the New World. They knew what people were going over there and wasn't coming back. They wasn't going to be no fan. Y'all just taking dudes over there. They worked them to death and came, especially down in Brazil, worked them to death in about a year and come get some new ones.
And made proper legal provisions for it. He died in 1542 and his son, Pedro Nkanga Mbwila, took over the throne. However, in 1545, Diogo Nkumbi Mbudi, Afonso's grandson, overthrew Pedro.
Guys, make sure you go ahead and get the contributions up. I'm gonna run a commercial. Y'all contribute to the Super Chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal. Make sure you contribute. You appreciate what's going on, man. Contribute to the Super Chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal, man.
Hey, if you're enjoying the content here at Dennis Sperling Unfiltered, make sure you support it by sharing, and subscribing to the channel. And also, hit that little notification bell in the corner so that you'll get notice of each and every one of our live feeds.
All right, fellas, make sure you contribute to the Super Chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal. So let's get back to where we were. Basically, what you learned is Jawa the First, he initially accepted the religion and he accepted the Europeans. And then after a while, he said, no, I'm going to go back to my own religion. But his son, Alfonso the First, he was all in. He studied the language for 10 years. He would study so hard, he went to sleep studying. That's what they said about him. He was all in. You see what I'm saying? He was their leader. He was there. So you can't be our leader and their agent at the same time. And so it got but he made a mistake and he realized that it was too late. Let's keep listening.
Among other events, there were a series of wars in Congo as a result of rivalry and frequent disagreements. The popularity of Christianity also grew, that by the 18th and 19th centuries, Congo artists made crucifixes and other religious objects that depicted Jesus as an African. These, among other activities, portrayed Congo as a central part of the Christian movement. At the Conference of Berlin in 1884 to 1885, European powers divided most of Central Africa among themselves, and Portugal claimed the largest part.
Now look at that. The Europeans said, well, we just going to divide Africa up amongst ourselves. How you going to divide somebody else's country up? That's the arrogance of the Europeans. But again, like I tell you, this world belongs to whoever is strong enough to take it and hold on to it. So if we allow them to do that to our country, then they own it. That's how you got to look at it. And remember that this world belongs to whoever is strong enough to take it and hold on to it.
Part of Congo. After some efforts to take over Congo, the Portuguese finally succeeded in 1888 through some manipulation of King Pedro V, 3 years before his death, when he voluntarily declared Congo as a Portuguese vassal state.
A vassal
in 1914,
is
the
like,
people of
is
Congo
like a
revolted against the Portuguese, and Portugal declared the abolition of the Kingdom of Kongo. Manuel III of Congo, the kingdom's ruler at the time, had to replace native rule with colonial rule. The Portuguese demanded rights to collect taxes and trade revenues, and gradually the independence of the Kingdom of Congo ended and was eventually integrated into the Portuguese colony
You heard what
of
they said?
Angola.
They basically tricked the king into signing over his rights 3 years before he died. And then after they said, well, we want to be free. You got to pay us. You still got to pay us taxes. This is what the Europeans did.
What have we missed out of this history? Let's know in the comment section.
Okay.
So
that pretty much sums it up. We got some time if you guys want to talk about this. I hope this has been educational. The link is in the chat room. Make sure you contribute to the Super Chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal. I think this is a very interesting concept. I'm just plugging, I'm just filling in holes for you guys. How did we get over here? What were we doing beforehand? You see, what happened? How did it happen? Now the picture is starting to come clear. Our African ancestors, the kings, many of whom, willingly jumped into the slavery thing, realized that their countries were emptying out. Their territories, their kingdoms were being, the people of their kingdoms were being stolen. Okay? That's what they're realizing. The people of our kingdoms are being stolen. Y'all got to cut this out. You see what I'm saying? You gotta cut this out. What's happening here? You see? And see, but it was too late because they had made a deal with the devil already. And so this is the issue that we have. So you guys, if you appreciate this conversation, you want to continue going like this. And again, Antonio came along, and Antonio the first came along. He fought, he won, he put them out, but they still kept coming back. You see, remember that when that first European came up in 1488 and sailed up that river, discovered, he went back and told the rest of them. Remember what was going on, and they just got the Moors out of Southern Europe, and now they're in a situation where they're still looking for gold. They heard about all the money that Mansa Musa had, i.e. Mansa Musa's folly, showing the world what he had, and then now, bam, there you go. So they said, well, who else has some money around here we can steal? And this is what we're dealing with, folks. And you basically made a deal with the devil, and the devil came and collected at the wrong time. But either way, this is Dennis Sperling. I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys appreciate this conversation. I hope it's been educational. I hope you learned a little something. Now you have names. Alfonso I of the Congo. Open the door to let the Portuguese in. Bam. The most populous place outside of Africa with Africans is Brazil, which was run by the Portuguese. Now you know. So either way, I hope it's been interesting. I hope we put some personalities with these historical names so you can kind of figure out who you're dealing with. I know we're extrapolating, but it's better than nothing. They should have taught you this in history in school, but they didn't. Either way, man, this is Uncle D. I love you guys. I'm out.